Hey, so we are back for episode number 7 of D&D Saga, Bed to the Bone, and I'm Morgan David, the Dungeon Master, joined as always for Bed to the Bone Adventures by Thom Adams playing Jackwick Gambleson. Hey, Tom.
Kia ora, how are we doing, Morg?
We're doing pretty well, and also, of course, playing Mascara Stormfire, it's Julz Burgisser. Hey, Julz.
Hey, how we doing?
Oh, we're doing fine. We're doing probably a little bit better than your characters are doing right now because you are in the hot seat, so to speak. We left you inside the courtyard of the great Craddick estate as Jackwick was disguised as Stanley Craddick and was in the driver's seat of this wagon. And Mascara Stormfire, I think, was concealed amongst the material that was being carried in the wagon. And two of the Craddick brothers had emerged from the house in a state of agitation and rounded on young Stanley and basically expected him to properly praise their demon master. And they looked at Jackwick and said, have you forgotten how to praise his name? And looked very expectantly, waiting for Jackwick to do something. Now, it's probably relevant to note that it doesn't seem like they have done anything to praise his name, but they have mentioned their demon master, and now they're expecting Stanley to do something. And so with their anticipatory eyes fixed on Jackwick, let's see what is going to happen next. So, Tom, you're in that hot seat, and of course Mascara is listening very closely to what's going on. But let's stick with Jackwick. What's happening with Jackwick? What is he thinking, and what is he going to do?
Jackwick's thinking, hang on, hold on a minute. And so he goes, kind of using, he can't put on the voice obviously, but he's just going to do kind of something like a gruff sound like he's kind of like, praise our demon lord, have you forgotten how to?
We haven't forgotten nothing at all.
Sounds to me like you've forgotten. Sounds like to me you want me to fill in your ideas.
Look, Peter isn't even there right now, okay? Peter's not here, which makes you the youngest. You're the one who's got to smite your brow when we praise his name. So get smiting, unless you want us to smite you on his behalf.
And Jackwick will, I guess, thaumaturgy is kind of the perfect thing for this. So he kind of starts like furrowing his brow and like slapping slapping his forehead and going, all hail, and the ground starts to shake and things start to kind of flash and there's like doors opening and shutting and he's like, all hail, is this good enough for you, brothers?
All right, I would like you to give me a deception roll with advantage, please. Well, on account of your thaumaturgical adumbrations that have assisted your efforts here.
Well, how does a 26 do you?
Oh my goodness. All right. So Vincent and Henry, as the doors like behind them slam, they both go big-eyed and say, oh, all right, Stanley, that's enough. That's enough praising of his name.
Not enough. I can do it more. I can summon her. I can smite him right into our faces here.
Stop him now, or he'll come through and everyone will be sleeping. Do it.
Are you sure you don't want that? You sure?
They look legit worried that you are going to keep going, and now looking at advancing on you, in order to kind of seize your arms and stop you from doing what you're doing.
And he puts his hands down. And he goes, all right.
Henry, the Hound Master, looks over at Vincent, who's the eldest of the brothers that are here, and says, "I don't think we should ever invoke our demon master when Stanley's the youngest. Make sure Peter's in the room, or Edward. I don't think I want to see you smiting your brow like that again. It pleases him. It pleases him in a way that fills me with terror right down to my boots."
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll be off then.
All right. Well, get the horses cleaned up, and then we'll have the brothers meeting in the lower dining hall. Come on. And he turns and he and Vincent go back into the house, I guess, leaving you out in the courtyard. Mascara, I presume that you have just been lying ready for action, but letting this all pass by. Yeah, is that right?
Yeah, Mascara has actually been struggling not to burst out with a giant laughing fit at all of this, and so the mushroom materials in the back of the cart might have been jigging a little bit as she was sort of like just sort of holding it in.
Well, the jigging that would have looked entirely of a piece with everything else that was going on, I think. Cool. So I think you're kind of peeping out through a gap in the mushroom material, and you can see them going back into the house. The doors close behind them. Because you have an eye for this sort of thing, Mascara, you quickly evaluate how easy it would be to get into that door, and then you spot that there's a good window nearby that's ajar, and then there's an easy drain pipe that gives access to a higher level. In fact, there are so many places to enter the swing of the house. You're just clocking all of them and evaluating which is the easiest and what does what. As you're doing that, you notice that some of the servants that you saw before, well, I don't know how much you were peering out before, but certainly Jackwick saw them before, are all kind of gazing upon the cart with something that looks a bit like worry. And as they do, one of them kind of reaches up and kind of takes his hat off and holds his hat down in front of his chest in a kind of a submissive pose. And as he does so, a bunch of straw falls out of the hat and falls down around him. And you see that his face just looks a lot thinner and more artificial than a proper person's face. And he kind of nods down in the direction of Jackwick, and there's another one doing the same thing, and then he jams his hat back on, bit of straw kind of flying behind him. Yeah, Jackwick, I think you don't see any of that because you're more focused on the horse that you are in charge of, and there are another few horses in the stables that need to be cleaned up according to the instruction you received. And sure enough, you can see just inside the stables there is a great big machine, and atop it is written Zompus's patented horse cleaning machine. There's a big entrance wide enough for a horse to go in. So seeing as you're in the driver's seat, literally, let's hand over to you and see what happens next year.
Like, I guess Jackwick kind of realizing that he probably shouldn't send the cart through with the horse. That feels like one of those rookie mistakes that one would make. Not that I've ever done it. So he'll kind of, I guess, stop the horse in front of the And I guess now he's in character. Now he's like he's kind of he's got a also, you know, job, good works, you know, hard work done as a day's good work. So he kind of hops off and like walks over and does the horse and you know, pushes then kind of starts to push the horse, and then he realizes there's a whole bunch of servants around. And he's like, hello, okay.
There's a few of them that have gathered now, and they're kind of looking expectantly at you in the wagon.
And you like if you're listening to Mascara, you'll hear Jackwick, you're in charge here. Do you want to tell them to go so I can get out?
and Jackwick goes, sorry, in your head, of course.
Yeah.
And then he just kind of starts like making like hands at the servants. Like, off you go. I've got it. Praise be smite. Praise be. Off you go. They look kind of at each other a bit confused, and then one of them kind of comes up, takes his hat off again, and says, "My lord, we've got to empty the wagon." And then they all nod and they all start walking towards the wagon to gather up the stuff that's on the back. We'll just do that for you. Won't take a moment, my lord. And he goes, hang on. I dropped my wallet in there. Give me 5 minutes to find it. If you touch my wallet, there'll be smiting of me. You. And then he points at one of them and goes, you. Before you go, but and no one look, because I don't want you to see what I've got in my wallet. And he goes to point to one. He's you. Where are my useless brothers? You know, there's a new person, like prisoner. Where have they moved? Have they moved him? Or her, whatever.
Oh, give me a persuasion roll. Let's represent how effective you're going to be at getting this kind of information out. They're all scared of you. No intimidation required, but they might not talk about this.
Well, it's 23. So.
23. All right. So you're continuing to be just a dominant figure in your interactions with them. Oh,
he's a real method actor.
Well, my lord, it's that the guest. The guest is still in the central tower, the east end of the central tower. That rear stair, we're not allowed to go anywhere near it unless we disturb them. It's all got to be quiet over that way. All got to be quiet. No noise worth more than our life if we're making any noise over there.
You're darned right it is. Off you go. Off you go. Good evening, my wallet.
All right. Well, they're gonna leave. They're like, all right, you heard the Lord. Give him some privacy. Give him some privacy. And they all kind of shuffle away, a few bits of straw kind of falling out of their clothing as they move and just disappear from view, leaving you alone in the courtyard with some horses and a horse machine. And Mascara, you're probably quite hot and bothered under these things, and you can finally emerge.
She like pushes everything to the sides, like quite dramatically, and sort of emerges through all of this cloud of mushroom fiber. And it's like, wallet, really? Wallet? Couldn't come up with anything better than wallet. Also, did you notice they're made of straw?
I may have noticed that, but also, man's wallet is his pride. And if I've dropped my pride in there, they'll listen. But also, can you check there? Because I think I might have left my wallet in there.
She's like, no, I took it. Old habits. She just lifts it up, gives it back to you.
Pits his pockets. He's like, oh, got me again. How many is that? Like 30 times?
35, but who's counting?
I should get myself a chain for it.
Oh, please do. It'll add an extra challenge. Anyway, I've counted at least 3 ways out of here, and I feel like we should go out of here.
That's pretty good. I've only counted 1, and that's the one we came through.
Yeah. See that drain pipe? A lot easier than you'd think.
Than you would think. I mean, have you seen me lately? Oh, wait. I may... Oh, no, I think I could probably... How many toe holes does it have?
And she's looking at it and just like, I don't know. I just kind of scamber, fly up. I don't know, like that, like that owl said, sometimes just it's almost like flapping.
All right. Well, I guess if you are a bird, then you should be able to fall up, like he said. Honestly, I completely lost track of that entire conversation. There are birds involved, and we're asleep.
Well, yes, exactly. And there was flying up, which I think I should be able to do in this case.
All right. Well, you lead the way, and I'll scurry behind.
Yeah. It's okay. And she pats her bag, which you can clearly see like the end of a rope sticking out of, and she's like, I got you. Like,
oh, rope.
And so she's gonna kind of scamper up the drain pipe quickly, because that seems to be the least, like problematic here and the most away from here, if you know what I mean. Yeah,
absolutely. So the climb itself will be very easy for Mascara, but I still want you to make a climbing roll, just to represent how smoothly the climbing goes, because the house is a bit old, it's a bit broken, bits might break or crack as you put weight upon them, etc. So let me know how you go.
Is this acrobatics?
Yes, please.
And sorry, just before you do, Mascara, Jackwick's going to put his hand on your shoulder and go, all right, again, good luck. And then he's going to cast guidance, and you get to hit a D4.
Nice. I shouldn't need it right now, which I might save it for something else, because I just rolled a 22.
It's a cantrip. Oh, nice.
Awesome. All right. So
She has a lot of decks.
Yeah. So with a 22, you clamber up so smoothly and elegantly. You knew it was going to be easy for you, but not only is it easy, but you can pick exactly the kind of most secure places to put your weight to make it a good, safe pathway for Jackwick to follow. So we'll just let your roll count forward for Jackwick making your way up as well. Do you want to just describe the image of Jackwick climbing? Are you a good climber, or is it more clumsy than that?
I mean, he's still a kind of a halfling. Halflings are nimble, but he's also, he spends most of his time just walking from place to place, and he's not really a climber. It looks more awkward than it is, and I think part of that is because he does a lot of really tight gripping with his feet and his gigantic toes. Yeah. So it looks like he's not doing a lot with his top half, whereas his bottom half is really doing the work.
I like to think too that because of the way this house is and all of its rambling, crazy pieces and stuff, there's bits that we almost have to go upside down and back the other way before we come back round again. So it's like this really complicated looking climb.
Yeah.
And then there's these weird, like, colorful, like, handholds in certain places just because.
It's like bits of rock and fungus that I've been like, hold here. Yeah.
The sponsor has been written on there somewhere. Zumbus and big kind of.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Cool. So you make it into the great house. You're in an area of the house that is unoccupied. You step down into dust and just silence, well, relative silence, as you then move deeper into the house from there, leave that room and creep along corridors that have not been touched, no one set foot in these spaces for many, many years. And you are heading closer to the area of the great complex, the great house that is occupied where stuff is. And as you approach down this corridor towards the main door out of this extended wing, you begin to hear noises. You begin to hear a whole range of different noises, chirping and tweeting, bird noises. Many, many birds are tweeting from close by. You can hear it through the walls that you are approaching. The sun's coming in the windows and kind of dust is floating in the shafts of light, and your noses are probably tickling from the dust as it's getting into your system, so you're trying not to sneeze, etc. But any sneeze, the sound of it will be drowned out by the sound of these birds that are beyond this door. You're pretty much at the door now. Is there anything you wish to do? I'm assuming you're kind of heading in that direction because there's no other obvious way to go, but I'll let you tell me.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. I think Mascara would turn around to Jackwick and be like, feathers? Is this where they get the feathers for the beds, do you think?
And Jackwick, like, that moment where you're like, I should have thought about that. And like, oh my God, you're right. No, I just thought it was, I just thought they like birds. Now that makes a lot more sense. Oh, well, don't I look like a wee little lily? That's embarrassing.
How big do you think these birds might be?
Either giant or there's thousands of them.
Yeah, because if they were giant, they could fly us to the top of the tower. But maybe they can't get out of here. So maybe we can't get out of here on a bird. Maybe I'm overthinking this.
No, you know what? I think we should have all our options available to us when we get to them. And if we need to, descend by bird, the opposite of which I understand they do, then, we'll do it. I'm small enough. I'm sure I've fallen off a bird before.
And Mascara gives you this look, and it's like a look you'd be pretty familiar with. It's like the look where she's coming up with like a scheme or a scam or just up to mischief. It's got like a certain twinkle in her eye, and she looks at you and she's like, I want to open the door. Do you want to open the door? I kind of want to open the door just to see what's in there.
And Jackwick, kind of that weird dichotomy of like being the sensible one, but also being the kind of quasi-agent of chaos is like, well, the opposite is not opening the door, and that doesn't seem like any fun at all, so let's do it.
So Mascara either tries to open the door, and if it doesn't open, she will get her, open up her vest of lockpicks and just, select the correct thing,
Yep.
Yeah.
You are correct that this door is locked. because it has not been used for a very long time. This whole area of the house is locked and sealed. But to one of your talents, Mascara, it is a lock that we needn't even dignify with a 20-sided dice roll. The lock opens, and you pass through the doorway into a large space, and then you realize pretty swiftly that you had to pass through the space to get out of the closed off area, because interior walls have been knocked down, and you can see a whole open swathe with windows on the far side and windows in the ceiling, holes in the ceiling shining light down. And inside this enormous space, 4 or 5 separate huge cages filled with birds. This is an aviary. And you are just walking into, in fact, one of these open spaces. There are cages divided within it, but also the space itself is filled with birds that are not kind of kept in the specific cages. There are just birds everywhere, colorful tropical birds. There are flightless birds running along underfoot. There's a healthy layer of straw laid down all around, and as you walk, you can see that there are a number of helpers, of servants, kind of shuffling around and adjusting the straw and replacing the straw, and straw is falling out of their own clothing as well. They're a bit less kind of human-like. These are more shuffling, more fresh off the
Stick.
the stick. That's it, fresh off the stick. And they're all kind of walking around with their heads down as the birds turn and flutter, but there's a big swirl of greenish beautiful birds around a central figure standing with his back to you. And he's a man with kind of long blonde locks, and he is holding a hand up, and in his hand he must have seed, because there are a succession of birds flying down to land on his hand and feed from it, as he just kind of looks around at this flock that is swirling around him. Beyond him, some distance beyond him, there is another door that leads elsewhere into the rest of the house. That's where you need to go to access the rest. But yeah, he's there. There's a big space.
I launch straight into, and here we have the aviary. And as you can see, there are many types of birds here. And I'm like,
well, I never look at all these birds. Thank you very much, tour guide, for these.
And this here might be Peter or Edward. I just kind of like, and I'm like,
the man turns around. He is the youngest of the brothers that you have seen so far. Fresh-faced, you would almost say. Handsome, and he's interesting, with a shaft of light from above falling upon him and the birds circling around his face. He looks particularly handsome and noble in this light. And he looks at you with startling blue eyes and says, "Yes, I'm Peter. I wasn't aware there were any tours ever. How do you be here?"
Special tours for Zumpus VIPs, and I sort of hold out the coin, and I'm like, again, like internally, like screwing up my face, being like, "Dear God, let this work," but outside, just being like, "Yep, absolutely."
This sounds to me like it's a deception situation. Did you have anything to add to that, Tom?
Jackwick's like, "Yes, thank you. As one of the key shareholders of Zumbus, I am here to see my investment, sir."
Let's have a roll.
Oh God, this is gonna be.
Is that guidance still sitting there waiting to be used? Oh, we might not need it. How'd we go?
25, nat 20.
Oh, I got a 15.
Okay. So
Clutch.
I think Peter kind of takes you in, and the coin and the investor over your shoulder, and he returns his attention to you, and he says, "Well, you are most welcome. We don't often get visitors here to the aviary, but I'm delighted to show it to you. so many species of birds, such beautiful creatures, beautiful creatures. And he begins pointing out different species and the faraway lands that they have been come from, and the means that he is using to breed them with each other and try and find good breeding pairs so that they can just have a wonderful self-sustaining aviary of all different kinds of birds.
Yeah, and I am asking like sort of genuine questions, but sort of leading back to like, what are the birds for? And if I hear a place name I'm not super familiar with, you know, like I'm wondering if that's from another realm. So I would, you know, like, is it from our realm, or like, is this connected to many realms? Like, is kind of what I'm trying to find out. Yeah.
Sure. Well, he becomes quite voluble at your questions. He is quite happy to talk about the four corners of the world where these have come from, and it becomes pretty clear that there are birds that have been gathered from far over oceans, but not other dimensions or other worlds. It's all from this reality, and he's obviously, it's becoming very clear to you, but like, you've got your natural 20 and he's just talking and talking, trying to impress the tourist and to be useful to the tour guide. It's obvious that he really is kind of taken with these birds, and he's quite fond of them, and he's quite engaged with their well-being, and there's some that he talks about the efforts that he's gone to help them settle in so they'll be comfortable here. And as he's doing that, it becomes increasingly clear that he doesn't like to talk about what the birds are for. You can certainly press him on this point, but whenever you try and guide the conversation there kind of in a general sense, the topic just gets changed and he's talking about something else.
Jackwick's going to put up his hand. He goes, hello, sir, shareholder. Just out of curiosity, you've got a lot of birds here. What's your newest bird?
The newest? Well, we actually have a large two-legged beast over in the far corner. It's a singular creature, but I'm trying to study its needs. So come. And he leads you through the aviary, or kind of through the darkness, picking your way around some of the big cages. And then on the far side, quite near the door out, there's a big standalone cage. And there's a bunch of birds kind of sitting on the roof of the cage. But inside the cage, standing gazing at you is a large two-legged creature, like an ostrich or an emu, that manner of beast, and it fixes its eyes on you with some kind of avian malevolence. It doesn't want to be in here, it's not enjoying it at all, and it kind of puffs up its shoulders and its feathers go big, opens its beak. It's not very happy, but well, it's a magnificent creature, and Uncle George believes its feathers show great promise.
Uncle George?
Jack goes, by the way, sir, they all have two legs. But anyway...
Oh, not that one over there in the corner. That definitely had 6.
Oh, dear Lord. Sorry, I've been here too long. All right. And Jackwick's going to walk up to the bars, and he's going to think at it, and he's going to go. Actually, sorry. And he goes, now look, this is embarrassing. I've completely forgotten who sent us, but you're not an apprentice of someone's, are you?
The bird's bird brain replies with just an incoherent expression of fury that it is being locked up and that it is away from its flock. It's not. Right. It's not an intelligent apprentice bird.
just an humble question. No need to get all And he turns and looks at Peter and goes, "This thing here, a little bit annoying, isn't
it?" Well, to be honest, I admire its character. It has a lot of spirit for a bird, a lot of personality.
You wish you were a little more resistant, do you, Peter?
I'm sorry. What?
Just, I know that it must be hard to be the youngest of all the brothers.
Oh. Well, I don't know if this is entirely appropriate for a discussion in front of a tour. I'm very committed to the family business, yes. You needn't worry, Mr. Shareholder. So what was your name?
Wickjack, son of Sun Gamble.
Mr. Wickjack, pleasure to meet you. I'm Peter Craddick, of course, and yes, the family business is, well, we're seeking new ways to expand, and we're reaching further than ever before. The family, of course, stretches across all 3 continents. So,
yeah, and Mascara, kind of seeing his expression and seeing how hard he's trying to justify things, sort of actually in a moment of empathy, reaches out and kind of touches his arm and is like, no, you must really care about the family business to give up the ones you love. And she sort of gestures around her a bit.
Okay, I think this is another persuasion type role, because you're trying to make a real connection with him here.
Yeah, I'm kind of hoping to touch some empathy and being like, I might be able to get him to realize that there are people missing,
Yep.
Ooh, so I just rolled a 19. I mean, there's no point in showing you, because I could have just put it there. But no, seriously.
This is going to be one of those games where the dice rolls are just completely shaping everything.
They're stupid. Yeah, I mean, my persuasion's only a +2, so I mean that's only a 21. But
I love it. I think Peter, he kind of meets your eyes, and then he reaches out and he takes your wrist in his hand gently, and he says, "They are little creatures, and they only live to be free and to fly, and I do what I can for them. I do everything I can."
Yes, I understand. Don't you wish that everything that could be free had its time to fly?
Well, Uncle George says that if we manage to fully replace the need for... He says a lot of things, Uncle George.
Peter.
I don't believe he has any intention of changing what we're doing here.
Let me be honest, Peter. We're here in search of somebody missing, somebody who has been trapped in here unfairly, somebody who needs to fly. Do you know of what I speak, Peter?
Yes, I think I do.
Can you at
also,
least...
I'm sorry, I lied. I'm Jackwick, not Jack. I panicked. I'm sorry. We're getting it out there.
And she says, I'm not asking you to put yourself on the line. I'm asking you to let me put myself on the line. Would you at least help me with some kind of knowledge as to how I could help her fly, or them fly?
I will take you to the staircase. It's the best I can do. The main route is well guarded, but I know a back way. There are so many back ways in this place. It's a maze. It changes underfoot each night. But I can find the way because I worry about them.
And Mascara's just nodding and looking right into his eyes, and like just real empathy in her face. Very genuine. She's not faking this,
Yes.
Yeah. And she's like, let's go.
Okay.
Go before,
Yeah, cool. She he leads you out of the aviary, along other corridors, along kind of strange highways and byways, up and down, and you go up a spiral staircase and then down another spiral staircase, and somehow end up higher than you started out. It's just very strange, disorienting geography. And he opens up a panel in a wall, and it leads into another room and another set of corridors, and you're pretty sure that the geography just doesn't work, but he's leading you and pulling you along. And as he is taking you through this place, he now and then just looks back and kind of renews his confidence. This is the right thing to do, and he keeps going, and he's saying, stay quiet. And finally he comes to a staircase. It's a spiral staircase, and it's going up, and there's like a couple of corridors that are converging at the base of the staircase, but it's obvious you're kind of in a back section of the house, so it's not easy to get here. And he says, up at the top of the stair, there's a locked door, and they're behind it. They've been behind it. Sometimes they have wings, sometimes they don't. But sometimes I hear them singing. And
Mascara grabs him again by the shoulders. Like, I will help them. Thank you so much. And then just like hugs him, like real hard, like just genuinely hugs, and is like, you've done good today. And then like turns her attention to the stairwell and is like, come on, Jackwick.
Cool.
And Jackwick reaches out his hand. He's like, shakes his hand. He's like, thank you, sir. You can make a go of, being a bird fellow without all these other people. I recommend that. People love birds. You don't have to do it here. Do it anywhere you want. Anyway, just a thought. Pip, pip.
Go. You take some steps up the stairwell, and you hear a door open nearby, and a voice come echoing down the hallway. Peter? I've been listening to your thoughts, Peter. Are you doing bad? And Peter looks down the hall. You can't see where he's looking. You can just see his face go ashen white. Uncle George, it's not what it looks like. Honestly, it's not what it looks like. And you hear footsteps coming down the corridor in Uncle George's voice. I will judge that for myself. And there is suddenly this eruption of like charged electricity in the air, and he falls to his knees and begins to scream. Peter begins to wail in agony as it looks like black tendrils start to wrap around his shoulders, and he's throwing himself back and forth in obvious, hideous pain. Do you try and help and intervene, or do you just make your way up the stair? What do you do?
No, there's no way Mascara, like, having had a genuine connection with him, will leave him. She would absolutely erupt from where they are in the stairs, like daggers held in both her hands, trying to go for like full-on sneak attack to whoever's doing that to him. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I don't think sneak attack is going to be possible because this person's down a corridor away from you advancing.
So by the time I get to them, yeah.
So basically you will have to reveal yourself to intervene.
Yeah, and she does. She screams out like, coward, get away from him,
Nice. You look down the hallway. You have stood in between Peter, and you look and you can see the aged face of a bent over older man, still with those distinctive Craddick features, but grey hair, thinning grey hair and piercing eyes, just horrific magical energy swirling around his slender form. And he looks at you and smiles and says, more visitors for the Eyrie. And I think he's going to attack you, and we're going to do all that next time, because this feels like a big cliffhanger. So the camera, I guess, is going to zoom right in on Jackwick for the final words of the episode.
Like tentacles. seen those before.
Fantastic, and that's gonna do us for episode number 7, and we're in a big fight with the big bad, the master that you were asked to kill. So maybe you'll pull it off, maybe not. But I think that's going to do us for today. So I am Morgan David, the Dungeon Master, and thank you to Thom Adams. Thanks, Thom.
Thank you.
And thank you, Julz Burgisser.
See you later.
All right, see you later. Bye.
Bye.
Diceratops presents a podcast, D&D live on stage, interviews, news, other games, and romantic advice from Randy Dwarf. Get it all at diceratops.nz.